Alrighty, Treya fans, let's look at assigning people to projects in Treya. So the reason we assign people to projects is so that we can manage their utilization, ensure that our projects are fully staffed, and it also enables the assigned person to build time to a project in their timesheets. And right now, I'm looking at the company-wide team planner, which shows us all of our projects stacked up and all of its assignments. But that's a little bit more of an advanced feature that we covered in a different video. And today I want to focus on the fundamentals of assigning people to projects. So let's click on projects. And then I'm going to click on our mobile app design project. And then I'm going to click on team. So these are the people that are assigned to this project right now. You got Caleb, David, and me. And so looking a little bit more at Caleb, he's assigned as a marketing specialist. That's the role for 20 hours a week, starting about March 31st and going to May 4th. And the time frame that we're looking at is the start to end date of the project. That's what we've been restricted to. And so this is the portion of the project that he's assigned to. And let's say I want to assign someone else to this project. So we're going to click on edit. Every change that we make to our resource plan for a project, we have to click on edit first so that we don't accidentally click on something and mess up our whole plan. And from the edit mode, we can click on add team member. And this is going to be all the things that our assignment actually is. First of all, it's the person that we're assigning. So let's say it's Nadia. And the role we're assigning them for, we'll say a software architect. The number of weeks, or excuse me, the number of hours per week. So right now it's 40, let's just say it's 20. And then that hourly rate that they're going to be billing at if this is a time and materials project. That hourly rate will default to whatever this role's rate is, but you could always change it here. And we'll talk about assignment modes in a minute. Click on add assignment. Now, by default, Nadia's assigned for the entire project. And we can change the period of time that she's assigned for by dragging these bars. And it's important to note that if she's assigned to a project for a certain time period, she can still bill time to that project at any point during that project. This is what we want to happen. This is when we think Nadia should be doing her work. This is our plan, but it doesn't restrict her in any way. So once I have someone added, I'm configured the way I want to, I click on save, boom. Nadia is now on this team. She can bill hours to the mobile app design project. Another interesting thing to note here is that you see how these assignments are aligned and synced with the end date of the project. When that's true, anytime we change the end date of that project, like say, for example, we wanted to move it back a week or two, or we can move it forward a week or two, but when does that happen? When that happens, the assignments are automatically updated to also move with the project. So if I move this project timeline back a week, so too with these assignments. The same thing goes for the start date, or that's just a little bit more rare of a case. Now, if we want to change something about an assignment, or if we want to remove an assignment altogether, we go back into edit mode and click on the pencil icon next to the row of that person. And from here, we can change their hours per week, their hourly rate. We can't change the role or the person. For that, we would need to make a new assignment. And if we want to remove them from the project, we hit unassigned user. Yep, great. Now Nadia's gone from the project. We click save, we're back in business. Now that basic type of assignment is called a manual assignment. And the reason it's called that is you manually set the beginning and end date of the assignment by dragging those bars manually. There's another form or another mode of assigning people called activity-based assignments. And for that, we need to take a look at our project plan. If we're using the timeline plan, which this is, we already have these activities that have their own time frames. And so if we assign someone to one of these activities, their time frame of their assignment matches that activity. So let's try that. Go back into team, go into edit, we'll add Nadia back to this project, architect, and we'll click on activity-based here down in the assignment mode. Here, we have the option to check all the activities that are a part of our project. So for her, I'm going to check discovery, and I'm going to check the prototype, and click add assignment. So now you can see that Nadia's assignment, and click save here. Nadia's assignment is for the first couple of weeks of the project, there's a gap, and then for the remainder of that project. And the great thing about this is if I were to change the time frame for any of these activities, her assignment would change to reflect it. So let's look at that. Project plan. I'm going to change discovery, move that to a shorter time period, click on save, go back, And boom, this part of our assignment has changed. She has a larger gap. We know that we can assign Nadia to other work during that gap. Now, we can do that and assign these gaps and that kind of thing by using manual assignments. And by the way, we can also assign people to multiple roles for multiple time frames on a project. So let's go and add me again. So I'm already on the project as a QA tester. And I'm going to add myself. I'm going to use the search bar. And I'm going to say that I am a project manager and add that as an assignment. And now I get 2 bars for that one person showing the different roles that they're playing on the project. And each bar I can change individually. So I can say I'm the project manager for the first couple weeks of the project, and then I'm a QA tester at the end of the project. I don't know what real world example that would fit, but hey, we're just learning here. And now I'm showing up here multiple times and I have that same gap. And that's the basics of assignments. Now, the thing we haven't talked about yet is placeholders. Placeholders are what we see on the screen, these 4 bottom rows, where we're showing what looks like an assignment, but no one's been assigned yet, although there's a role, a time frame, and a number of hours per week. And these are placeholders for someone that needs to be assigned to this project. When we scoped it out, these are the people that we intended to have on it, and we haven't yet filled them. So if we want to fill one of those placeholders, we go into edit mode, and we click on fill next to the placeholder that we want to fill, and we just select the person that wants to go on this project. And they're going to have hours per week and an hourly rate as normal, and those default to whatever the placeholder has been configured to, although we could change them if we wanted to. And we click confirm and hit save. And you'll notice that Sophia is now slotted in as that QA tester. That other the QA tester placeholder that we had is now gone because it's been filled. And great, we have someone that's sitting on this team that's supposed to be on this team. When we fill a placeholder, you can see that there's this little icon next to the assignment that shows us this is a placeholder that has been filled. If I were to go and unassign Sophia from this project, that placeholder would be restored back into our list because it still needs to be filled, and she would be removed from the project. Now, we can create placeholders of our own by clicking on Add Placeholder and setting up a role and hours per week and all that good stuff. And placeholders, like assignments, can be manual or activity-based. And when we assign someone to these placeholders, these are the default values that we use for that assignment. And like I said, you can change them from the default values. This comes in handy when we have a placeholder that we want to fill with multiple people, or we have someone assigned and we're planning to swap somebody else in a little bit later. And so let's look at this really quickly. So I'm going to fill this QA tester. This is an activity-based QA tester. And I'm going to fill right now with Sophia. And you'll see here that because this placeholder says that this is branding guide and prototype as the activities, that's what's initially selected, but we could choose not to. We could say Sophia's just doing the branding guide. So we uncheck prototype, hit confirm. Now, Sophia is now assigned to this project for this placeholder, and this shows the time frame of that activity. But the placeholder still remains, showing that it's partially filled, and the stuff that needs, the activities that need to be filled still show up in here. And if we want to fill that, we just go back to fill, and we select prototype. Notice that because the branding guide was already filled, we don't have that one checked by default. We could turn it on. They could both be working on it. That's not a problem. But we want this person doing prototype, and we will say that's Declan. Now, and just like assignments, if we want to change things about the placeholder, we can edit them just like assignments by clicking on the edit button or dragging the bar for manual assignments. Now, as a best practice, it's good to not just assign someone directly to a project, but rather create a placeholder and then assign them to that. It helps with the resource forecasting calculations and some of the project metrics. Typically, placeholders are created when you close a deal that has a pricing plan and it creates a new project. The placeholders are automatically set up based on the plan that we put together in our deal. And so we typically don't have to create placeholders ourselves. But if we're adding more people to the project, maybe we're doing a change request of some form, that's when we'd manually edit these placeholders. So I hope you enjoyed learning the fundamentals of resource management in Treya. Make sure you check out that other video about using the company-wide planner, and good luck. Utilization is a really important part of managing a services company.